It's the Infinite Podcast. Go tell your friends. It's the Infinite Podcast. My God, it never ends. It's the Infinite Podcast with Rob and Cork the Kid.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Project Infinite Podcast, the podcast covering the infinite and ever-expanding multiverse of fandom. For movies, comics, TV shows, video games, we got you covered. I'm Rob. I'm here, as always, with Court. Court, we took not a break, just a little extended week off.
Yeah, we had some paid time off from the studio, obviously.
Yeah, and then, of course, when we do that, all of the news happens, and all the trailers happen, and just boatloads of stuff to talk about. So, I mean, we were going to talk about Agatha anyway.
I thought all along that's what we were going to talk about.
Yeah, we were going to talk about that. We were going to talk about that and Penguin. So we will talk about those things still, just probably a little bit more of an abridged version towards the end of their respective news segments, because we are pretty much just going to talk about a bunch of news and a bunch of trailers this week. Starting of which a bit of a bummer once again.
Yeah.
So Dame Maggie Smith passed away a couple days ago at the age of 89. So great life, great career, obviously, for Maggie Smith. Most notable, to people my age, as Professor McGonagall in the Harry Potter movies, which she played spectacularly. One of the best parts of those movies was her. And then I'm obviously Downton Abbey. I mean, we could do a whole episode on the things that she was in and things that she was great in. And yeah, just another long career, long life. It's obviously like sad when these things happen, but 89, she was still doing her thing, like even up until now, she was still kind of doing her thing. So, yeah, just wanted to celebrate the life and legacy of Maggie Smith.
Yep.
To start this episode.
Yep. I mean, funny enough, she's always in my head for Sister Act.
Sure.
She will,
yes.
A staple of my household, will always be in my head for Sister Act. The tough exterior, soft interior, and no better way to sum up the beauty and the grace that was Maggie Smith.
Yeah, that's kind of like, a through line of a lot of her most, kind of famous roles too, was that, I mean, McGonagall was that in the Harry Potter movies. Yep. She starts, in Sorcerer's Stone, you think she's just like this, just uppity, like just uptight, strict. And then, she's the one that ultimately, really comes to care for all those kids, right down to the final movie. Just incredible career. 2 Academy Awards, 5 BAFTA Awards, 4 Emmys, 3 Golden Globes, a Tony Award. She's one of the few actors to earn the Triple Crown of acting. Career started in 1952 on the stage, so she was acting for almost 70 years. And it's hard to have a career more accomplished than that. You can only hope to have a career
exactly
a fraction of the career that Maggie Smith had. So, yeah, I mean, it's just, it sucks, losing these just figures, these figureheads, these very, we talked about James Earl Jones, last episode, and now Maggie Smith. And it's just like, man, it's tough. So yeah, transitioning out of that, never easy, of course, but we do have some other things to talk about. Starting with some films. You can't see me, but I'm putting my hands up.
What time is it on the podcast?
It's Court's Cinema Corner time.
Yes. It's catching on 2 weeks in a row.
2 weeks in a row. Starting with the Sinners trailer. So this is the movie that we've kind of talked about in passing here and there, as people have been added to the cast. Obviously, the synopsis. This is the Ryan Coogler movie, starring, of course, Michael B. Jordan. His Leo DiCaprio. Michael B. Jordan's in this. Haley Steinfeld is also in this. This is Ryan Coogler's period piece vampire monster movie, and it looks properly spooky and unsettling.
I mean, you want to talk personnel wise? I mean, Ryan's back, and I was just talking to somebody about this. This is his 5th feature.
I know. We talk about this all the time with him.
The trust from a studio, especially a studio like Warner Brothers, to say, Ryan, here's the keys, here's this amount of money, go make something original and new. And it's it felt so vintage in that way to me. It felt so. It's funny that we're saying that in a way that like a film that's an original idea, because the immediate reaction I got from this trailer is this has cult classic potential. Like this has potential to be one of those movies that people revisit. Like when this movie comes out, I believe this is a March 7th release. When this movie comes out, people are going to be talking about this for a while. It's going to be one of those things in the head. I mean, trailer wise, this is one of the stronger trailers I've seen in a while as well too. This is such a strong. I mean, we're going to talk about several strong trailers, but for an original idea film that's coming out as well too, I mean, I couldn't be happier with the result. I mean, Michael B. Jordan is heavily carrying that main character energy as well too. This cast is absolutely stacked as well. I mean, Michael B. Jordan, you got Delroy Lindo, you have Haley Steinfeld amongst others. I mean, this is really well constructed, but narratively, I don't know anything, and it's trusting us to be like, that's okay. You don't need to know everything now. And
I think Coogler's getting that kind of gravitas at this point, where he's becoming one of those guys that he makes a movie and you're like, I gotta be there for it.
I will say the way that directors have been evolving over the last couple of years, and it's not evolving, it is evolving. It's just the new age directors. I was just having this conversation with somebody as well the other day about like, I love Martin Scorsese, I love Tarantino, but Spielberg and Hitchcock are really the two, and Kubrick were the ones that were like, my name is on this film, people will go watch this film. And then in the blockbuster era, once you started to hit the late 70s, the 80s, Spielberg's name's on this thing. And then, you get to like Zemeckis throws his name on the thing. Like, it's the filmmaker's name that's really getting this movie sold. I feel like we're getting back to that era a little bit where, you have your Denis Villeneuve. I mean, Jordan Peele, we talked about a lot how he really is our modern day Hitchcock. He really is the one where if he's dropping something, everybody stops to go see it. Denis becoming that way as well too, where Denis drops something, you go to see that thing. So, and we're going to talk about another director who, after a couple Oscar wins, in 2019, has that same level. So I'm just over the moon about this trailer. I think this film is going to be incredible. Horror for Ryan Coogler, I think, is awesome too. I just like that he put his pen to paper and kind of let it sing for himself.
I think if this movie is as good as I believe it will be, he's putting together not just an incredible resume, but an incredibly versatile resume.
And what did he just turn 40? Like him and Damien?
Not even.
Yeah, I don't
he's
even
38.
Think him and Damien Chazelle are around the same age. And I mean, same thing for Damien Chazelle. Damien has 4 features under his belt. I mean, Ryan has 5.
You just look at these 5 movies, and besides obviously Black Panther and Black Panther Wakanda Forever, these, I guess we consider them 4 franchises or
right.
4 movies. Like
right.
we'll consider Black Panther kind of one for like, the greater point I'm going to make here. So like Fruitvale Station, you have like your contemporary,
right.
drama piece. You have Creed, which is this kind of elevated boxing sports movie.
Right.
You have Black Panther, obviously, which is in the superhero genre, and now you have Sinners, which is this horror movie. Like the versatility is outrageous.
Yeah, and it's why narrative is so important. It's always also why personnel is so important. And I mean, he bought Autumn Durald Archipel, who shot Loki. She shot Black Panther 2. And I mean, we talked about, in terms of the MCU, Black Panther 2 is in like the top 3 most gorgeous movies that studio has ever done.
Yep. I feel like a lot of people locked that movie away too, just because of the subject matter.
Yeah. Yep. I was thinking about that. That movie is still incredible. That's still an incredible
it's just tough
piece.
To watch.
It is really, and I told you the other day I watched and I was like, I can't do it. I truthfully can't just go back and watch that movie and enjoy it because there's too much pain, but that movie's so well made.
Yeah.
And it's so tight. So I'm so glad that she's back as well too. Because I think this is the second piece they've worked on as well together too. So obviously that's a cinematographer name that people need to kind of throw in their back pocket as well too, because the way she shoots, I think they were using the same using the same cameras that Oppenheimer is using. I know this is shot all on film as well too. So I mean, just that opening shot in the trailer, you're in good hands. There's trust behind this as well too. So I am over the moon. I think this is going to be an incredible piece, and like I said, this has true cult classic potential.
Yeah, I agree. You did mention another director that is having another movie come out, and that would be Bong Joon-ho.
Yes.
So the director of Parasite is coming out with another movie based on the
book. Yep.
The book, the 2022 novel Mickey 7. This is called Mickey 17, and it looks properly wacky.
Yeah, and what I love too is expectation subversion as well too. I think that's something to remember because
Yeah, I mean, it's a little weird for a Mickey Mouse movie.
no, and I thought, where's Mickey Rourke in this Mickey 17 movie?
Where's Mickey Mantle?
Right, I
Mickey
thought
Mantle going to space.
Yeah, I thought this was a space baseball movie with Mickey Mouse. All jokes aside, I mean, obviously, and this is what I love about the ideology of what tone is. Tone so often gets misconstrued for dark, light. It's not necessarily the thing. And we always talk about tone can be a lot of different things. Just don't forget what your tone is throughout. And this trailer, I think, is a lesson in tone. And again, to my point, a lesson in subversion. I mean, where you're going in and like you're hearing all the rumblings. Bong Joon-ho is making his big return back to cinema. Everybody apparently loves Robert Pattinson now, even though they hated him a couple years ago. And you put the two of them together, and you're thinking, all right, this is going to be this dark and gritty, just like Parasite. And you're like, nope, this actually looks like a boatload of dark fun. It looks... How does this look? How do I explain? You made a good point. This, to me, feels like if Snowpiercer and an episode of Fallout had a baby.
Yeah.
And Bong Joon-ho, the greatness of Bong Joon-ho directed it with the absolute versatility of Robert Pattinson in front of there.
Yeah, I'm super keen to see what this movie's about. I mean, and kind of like to the point you were making earlier about, directors getting kind of more notoriety. I think it's awesome specifically for him. Mm-hmm. Coming off of Parasite, and this is one of those instances like with the Oscars where like winning that Oscar like got people to recognize him and like kind of pay attention to like where his career trajectory is going. So like now like you can put his name on the marquee being like, directed by Bong Joon-ho and people are intrigued,
right? Like
because of Parasite.
Like I said, it's cool. Like it's Bong Joon-ho. It's like Greta Gerwig directs a movie now. Jordan Peele, obviously, Ryan Coogler. So
Zack Snyder.
What?
For better for worse.
You are right. You are actually right about that too. But I just think that's the coolest thing in the world where, these people that are spending so much times of their lives, and not that everybody doesn't work extremely hard on a movie, but the person behind the camera with the vision, it's just great that they're kind of getting the notoriety to be like, studios are comfortable selling the movie on their behalf. I think that's something that's really awesome. That's got to make you feel great as well too.
Yeah, I agree. Then you had a third movie you wanted to mention?
Yes, I did have a third movie that I wanted to mention. And I am very upset that you just kind of kicked it to the side as well too. So, A Real Pain, starring Jesse Eisenberg and Kieran Culkin. This just looks like your award season, gonna hit you right in the heart. Obviously, narratively, this is infinitely different than Holdovers, but I kind of get that feel that this is where it's going to kind of strike like that, that dramedy that has a lot of heart encapsulated into it as well too. I love when like these, somewhat comedic or, more comedic leading actors take this swing and like they get into this genre. Like, I don't know why 20th Century Woman just popped into my head. But I just like movies like that where, again, the Holdovers, like I was saying, like movies like that where you're like, you kind of feel you're like, what you're going to get. And then it gives you that absolute gut punch. Holdovers a couple of times to the point. But no, I'm just super keen to check this one out. I hope from what I've been hearing, the two of them have been pulling a little bit of Oscar nom talk out of that as well too. So
yeah, and I mean, in Eisenberg's case, he's been kind of not gone, but he's been kind of like under the radar.
Yeah. I mean,
since Zombieland, to be honest.
Yeah, and I mean, I can't remember if he directed The Art of Self-Defense that he was in as well too, but I feel like he's somebody that loves the game of which cinema is, like how filmmaking is like a sport, if you want to use that terminology. Like,
sure,
Dano does the same thing, like where they obsess over the thing. Like I feel, and I'm gonna get to I have two more points that I'm actually gonna throw into the cinema corner.
Oh,
but I can't wait to check this one out. Like this is like I feel like this is gonna be my tearjerker of the year. Like this is gonna be the one that's
even more than the Andrew Garfield Florence Pugh movie.
No, that one might. They're like they're a little different. I feel like this one's gonna have a little bit more relatability. I can't wait. I saw this trailer. I think 2 weeks ago, and I was like, or like last week, and I was like, this is gonna hurt. This is gonna properly like make me laugh, love, and hurt.
Yeah.
So, I also want to throw Sean Baker's Anora in there because that movie is getting the most critical of acclaim that you can get. And I mean, Oscar nominee Sean Baker, whose first feature film was shot on an iPhone. Sean Baker is getting just absolute, just acclaim for what he's doing. I can't wait for that movie. I think it's sitting at a 98%. I think it's one of the highest of the year so far too. I forget what her name is. That's the main character in the movie. She was in the Scream movies lately as well too, but apparently what I've been hearing is she's borderline a lock for the best actress role at this point too, which I think is awesome. So I just love Sean Baker's style. I mean, if you've seen Florida Project, you know, it's that same concept. It's like just this real world feeling films that he puts together that just have so much style, but so much heart behind them as well too. So Sean Baker, I hope he I mean, in my opinion, he's, in my heart, he's a household name, but I hope he gets there. And this might be the film to help him get there as well too.
Cool.
And then my last thing is, we're dipping into the TV cinema corner.
Oh.
But Bill Hader's back, baby. Bill Hader's getting another show with HBO. And
Yes.
you want to talk about somebody that, you know, loves the game of which we call filmmaking and film. I mean, just listen to any of his Criterion Collection interviews. They're always amazing. But I mean, I love Bill Hader. I mean, Barry, that show means so much to me as well too. So it's one of those things. It's like from a TV lens, and it's funny. I was just having this conversation about because I was talking about True Detective, and I said, if we really want to get into it, McConaughey was one of the first ones when streaming shows started becoming big. Obviously, it was coming out on HBO Max or on HBO itself, but once you hit into like the 2016s, 2017s, and actors were these movie actors were going into television, and how he was one of the him and Woody Harrelson were two of the trailblazers to get there as well too. So I just think that's awesome, and whatever his vision is for this new project, I'm all in. I mean, he is somebody that's going to be, in my opinion, one of the staples and important to the idea of what streaming shows can and should be.
Yeah, I'm always super keen to see anything that Bill Hader does.
Yes, his mind is just phenomenal.
Yes,
it is. He is one of the best. It's almost like the idea of like psychological warfare of the mind, but also in a way where like it's just a regular guy that's just going through some stuff. Yeah, and that's what sells Barry so well.
Yes, 100%. Got some video game news.
Yeah, we do.
So Sony, So Sony had a state of play. People were kind of, Sony's taken, PlayStation has taken a bit of a beating over the last couple of weeks.
I have a point for that too.
They have been kind of spinning their wheels a little bit. They've been quote unquote, the console wars. They've been winning it pretty handily. But I do feel like over the last couple of years, things have gotten a little wheel spinny.
You know why? I was thinking about this. I was thinking heavily about this because I thought to myself, I said, yeah, people were really not liking the state of play. And I said, because when you get to that point where Spider-Man, Last of Us, Ghost of Tsushima, what else do they have?
Final Fantasy VII.
Final Fantasy VII. Not Far Cry, Horizon series, like, we're not even naming all of them. Like, I feel like I'm missing
God of War.
God of War, yeah. So you're talking these massive video game IPs that run. And we talked about on here, when we talked about Fallout and The Last of Us on here, like, how it's started to shift where, like when we were kids, it was, like, shooter, but now it's, like, narrative, like, we need narrative is the thing that's going to sell the games at this point. Mm-hmm. So when you were so strong for so long and there's that little bit of the lull, anything besides, here's the Last of Us 3 trailer, here's the Spider-Man 3 trailer, we did get one at the end, here's the God of War, whatever the new, people are going to be like, well, this was for nothing.
It was kind of, in a way, it was kind of brilliant the way that they kind of capstone this thing. So, like, they did the big PS5 Pro sizzle reel, which...
Gorgeous. It's gorgeous.
Dude, I so badly want to be like, don't support, consumerism, like that type of shit. But, like, there's probably going to come a time where I'm going to get one. Like, that's probably going to happen.
Is that 30th anniversary. I just need the controller. That controller is gorgeous.
Like, that thing does look like it's going to make things run a lot smoother. Yeah, for the longest time when the PS5 came out, people were like, I think it's only a handful of games. I think really Spider-Man for the most part and Ghost of Tsushima when they remastered it are the only games right now that can support a 4K 60 frames thing. And now the PS5 Pro will be able to do that.
Right. And also, I think we talked about this off the pod, but we were talking... I guarantee you some studios are waiting. They're waiting it out until it's like we can actually get the absolute maximum of what we're going to give the system before it's too much to handle.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen, they showed a bunch of games off that are essentially going to be like not remastered, but like redesigned and patched for the PS5 Pro. And I mean, I saw Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and it really, like, people were like, it looks the same. It doesn't look the same. Like, if you put the current PS5 version of Rebirth, which already looks incredible, and put it next to what they're showing off in the PS5 Pro, it looks amazing.
I think Truckman's waiting for it as well too.
So they did the PS5 Pro thing, then they did the Horizon Zero Dawn PS5 remaster, which people were like groaning over, but that game is gorgeous, man.
Yeah, it is. It was gorgeous to begin with.
It was one of the best looking PS4 games into PS5 games. I mean, when they patched it originally for PS5, and then, I mean, Horizon Forbidden West, I still think is the best looking PlayStation 5 game that's come out to this point. It's probably that and Ghost of Tsushima.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Yeah.
So,
don't sleep on The Last of Us Part 2.
No, yeah. But I mean, the Horizon, and people were groaning about the Horizon remaster, but it is going to be $9.99 if you have Horizon Zero Dawn already. It will be $9.99. You can still get it for pretty cheap on the PlayStation Store now. So if you want, get it now, so you can get the upgraded version. I mean, I'm keen to go back in Horizon when that comes out. And then you think that's how the state of play is going to end, and then they just drop a black and white, black and white Japanese landscape. Like a shock drop trailer at the end, like, but here's one more thing. Black and white Japanese landscape, voiceover, and then the screen goes black. The Sucker Punch logo comes up. Crowd goes wild. It is the Ghost sequel, but a lot of differences, a lot of things changing, and I really enjoy the direction that this is going.
Me too. I'm into it. And the big thing that they said is, so this game is called The Ghost of Yotei.
Yeah.
No Jin Sakai in this game. This is a completely new story, and
takes place 200 years after Ghost of Tsushima.
They should do that every time. Every time they make another 200 years. Until they get to 2003. And then you show off the new protagonist, new mechanics. I think it's great. For a multitude of reasons. First and foremost, the first reason I think it's great is it addresses the problem a lot of people have with Spider-Man 2, in which it's just New York again. It addresses that because it's going to take place on a whole new area. I think that's with a big mountain, a big visual mountain. And I think that's a brilliant move because, like I said, it allows them to conceivably and believably do more with the engine that they already have. Because hypothetically, if they were just going to do Ghost of Tsushima 2 and it was going to continue Jin's story, I mean, where do you go? You're kind of limited by the mechanics of the time period in which Jin exists. It's not only the mechanics, and I mean, this is the big thing that it should dictate everything, in my opinion. It's the story. Where do you go? Like, what a way to end Jin's story. Something that people, and you had two options to end Jin's story on top of it. So how much further can you take it to give somebody and give a new protagonist a name and a life?
Because Jin, a lot of people are mad because
I know why people are mad.
Well, yeah. There's that part of it, but there's also the part of it of saying like Jin's story wasn't finished. Like, what about him going toe to toe with the Shogun? But like, that wasn't the point. Of Ghost of Tsushima.
No,
it was the inner struggle of Jin, honor versus doing what's necessary to save your people.
Right.
And he came to that. Like, that story reached its conclusion.
Right. And then what a perfect antagonist to throw his uncle, like, that ended in the most poetic way, whichever way you chose. It ended in the most poetic way possible. So the prospect of you retool the engine, you maximize it as best you can for the PS5 Pro, and you give us a new protagonist to learn from and learn with. I think that's a stellar idea. And
the idea of keeping the Ghost name, making the Ghost name as the thing that keeps the series.
It props up Jin even more.
Yeah, because, like, do you really think they're going to go through this game and not have allusions to him? Like,
Give your point.
Well, he could conceivably be the guiding wind.
Yeah.
Like Jin could be the guiding wind. Or, you unlock Ghost Stance by fighting Jin. Some type of mythical thing where he shows up.
Well, I said it when we talked about Ghost of Tsushima. I wonder if this game's going to dive into the mythical aspect of what the online gameplay was kind of alluding to as well.
Yeah, so this idea that Jin is just going to be non-existent, I think, is farcical. Like, there's the reason the game is called The Ghost of Yotei is because, and the reason it takes place 200 years after, in my opinion, is that Jin has become this Batman-esque figure in Japan, where like the legend of the ghost is, he becomes the legends that you learn about in Ghost of Tsushima. Mm-hmm. He's that now, which I think is super freaking cool. And I think that's such a great way to pay homage to the character. And it does leave the door open. Like, if you wanted to do Ghost of Yotei now, you could do Ghost of Tsushima 2 after this.
Yeah, you could.
If you wanted to, you really could do that. So I think it's super cool. Obviously, the visuals are second to none. I mean, I think, like I said, along with Guerrilla Games, who made Horizon, I think Sucker Punch has maximized the potential of the PlayStation 5 better than maybe any studio. Right. And that's honestly because the only reason I would not say Naughty Dog is because they haven't technically developed anything for the PS5 yet. So, I mean, we'll see what happens with them down the road. I think Square Enix has done a masterful job with their stuff. But
Marvel's The Avengers.
Nope.
She has a gun in this game.
She has a gun. I'm all for that.
She has dual blades.
Yes.
How are you not in? Like,
yeah. What more do you want?
What more do you want? That's the coolest.
There could be a wolf companion. Based off this trailer, it looks like you might get like
I upgraded my fox to a wolf. Like, what are we talking about?
Yeah, and like I said, the visuals look insane, so I'm all for that. And then other video game news: EA has confirmed that the Jedi Survivor sequel, third game, will be the final game in the Jedi line. So it will probably be the last we see of Cal Kestis in video game form.
Yes, because we got another point in a second.
Yeah. I feel like this is gearing him up for some type of live action thing.
Yeah, I mean, wasn't it confirmed by Variety? I can't remember.
I think so, yeah.
I can't remember who confirmed it. It might have been the Hollywood Reporter or Variety that Cameron Monaghan's going to come to live action at some point. It's something that he talked about that he was... Yeah. He talked about to you personally.
Yeah, he said it to me personally.
Yeah, he did. He said, when you met Cameron Monaghan a couple weeks ago, he said, "Hey, Rob, I would love to be a live-action Cal Kestis. I'm just waiting for the phone call." And then Rob dialed the phone to his other friend, Bryce Dallas Howard, that he also met, and said, "Bryce, boy, do I have the movie for you?"
Redheads Unite?
Redheads Unite. Let's get this movie rolling.
I think that makes total sense.
Would that not be the coolest thing? A Bryce Dallas Howard directed Cal Kestis show for Disney Plus?
I would watch that.
Throw all the characters in there.
Several times over.
Get all the people that played them. Wait. Oh, there's one person we can't have in there. Master Cordova.
Your favorite character?
He does nothing.
My friend.
You're not my friend.
My friend, find the thing.
Find the thing.
No.
Man, when I pulled up in the second game and he was alive, I've never wanted to hit somebody so bad. What did you make me do all that crap for? What do you mean you're alive?
Yeah, that was wild. But no, I think a trilogy for these Jedi games makes total sense.
I mean, it's the crowning thing that Star Wars games has right now, and, you know, I love when games get innovative, and it's not only opening that world up, it's the perspective view that the narrative took. It took the God of War approach in the narrative as well too. Just kind of you're doing your one-shot take for the entire game essentially too, which is really awesome. There are some great set pieces, but I mean, character-wise, Cal Kestis is one of my favorite video game characters now. He's and one of my favorite Star Wars characters. He's truthfully one of the most complex Star Wars characters that we've had in a while too, and I mean, that second game does really what, you know, second parts of trilogies does well, and it beats the crap out of Cal a bit. It really knocks him down a bit and kind of deconstructs him even further than what the first game did. Yeah, and you know, we talked about Jedi Survivor on here, and I loved the approach they took even with the beginning of the game, where like you have all the stuff, and then you just get more stuff. Mm-hmm. So I'm hopeful that they take that approach with the third game, where like you have all the stuff, and now here's more stuff. You know, one thing that game could probably add, because that second game added like so much. It added so much. You know what the third game should add, right? Flying. He flies now. Would that Jedi with a jetpack? No, not like that. I mean, like he has like you do like missions, like that'd be cool. Space missions, and he has like his own. I mean, Star Wars Outlaws has that. Yeah, get him an X-wing or something. Yeah, X-wing, we're saved. It's Cal Kestis. Gina Carano. And then kind of transitioning from video games to video game adjacent, we got a Last of Us trailer on Last of Us Day. Oh God, this felt like a y'all must have forgot trailer to me, because it feels like people do this
with The Last of Us, you can't see what I'm doing. I'm doing a wave motion with my arms right now. That's how
He's actually breakdancing.
that's how people are with The Last of Us. It's like, this thing is the best thing I've ever seen, and then it's like, actually it's bad, actually we hate this.
Yeah.
And then it's like, wait, no, this is actually really, really good. And then it's like, we actually hate this. And the show is suffering from the same thing. Like, I feel like the show came out and people were like, this is like the best thing I've ever seen. And then like some time passed and we're like, actually, we're sick of The Last of Us. And then the first trailer for the second season came out and we're like, all right, we're kind of back in. And now the second trailer, and then people are like, oh, actually, no, this is actually really good television that we're probably about to get. So, the you know, it's not going to get any less, you know, crazy over time. People are going to be mad about stuff. But I thought this trailer looked spectacular.
Unfortunately, this is one of the best trailers that I've seen. Unfortunately, I mean, this is. Do I bold state claim this as my favorite like franchise narrative? Like,
yeah,
I love The Last of Us more than conceivably possible. Like, I love this story so freaking much, and I mean, again, you have Druckmann's original story, and you get the adaptation, but the fact that Craig Mazin is just kind of adding the last layer of like finality to it is what makes the show truthfully incredible. I mean, the show operates in kind of plausible realism, but also the fantasy is the ideology that hope exists in a universe like this. And it keeps, and you know, Craig Mazin always makes the point of like, theme isn't a thing, theme is a question. So like, you know, it's part of one of the score pieces that Gustavo Santaolalla put in for The Last of Us Part 2 score, like, allowed to be happy, or like, are you allowed to be happy? And I mean, the way they structure this is and with the brand new characters, Joel's therapist is essentially like, what did you do? Like, you're not telling me something, like something, you're not telling me something. And what's the line she gives? She says, the first like piece to healing is by saying it out loud, like, and it's from the last trailer, or the last piece of the trailer from the HBO sizzle reel, where he's like, I saved her. Jesus Christ, Joel.
Jesus Christ, Joel. But they frame it, I like the way that they framed it in this, in the sense of like, not a question of like, it's not a what did you do in the sense of like Tommy asking him in the game of like, what did you do? Like, oh God, like how bad is it? Like the way the therapist frames it is like, tell me what happened. Like, just tell me what you did. And, you know, I kind of like the idea that they switched it from him having the conversation with Tommy to having this conversation with this therapist. Like, imagine, first of all, imagine a therapist in this post-apocalyptic world. First of all, that's a brilliant idea.
It's such a brilliant idea, and it's a brilliant idea because of the commodity. Like,
yeah.
Ooh, I got some points. We might have to spoiler section off this part when we talk.
Yeah.
Because some game things are going to be talked about. So
yeah, you can't not.
Right. I mean, final non-spoiler thoughts on this trailer. I mean, just it looks
incredible, yeah,
phenomenal. I mean, the work they're putting into the show, you can tell that HBO knows that how important
they pumped some extra money into this season, for sure.
You know that HBO said this might be our staple at this point. This might be the one that really sells our network. I mean, House of the Dragon's going to be on break. Like this, them taking that January slot. It's the first thing of the year. This rolls right into the Oscars where people are already in like I need some high cinema things. Like it's the perfect place to put it. And I mean, just god dang, this trailer just looks great. Like I can't say much more beyond that without getting into spoilers.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, you know, we saw some new faces finally in this trailer. Yep. We saw Dina, we saw Jesse, we saw Abby. We saw Jeffrey Wright obviously is back as Isaac, which personally I'm the most excited, hopefully, that he gets kind of like an expanded role. For those of you who don't know, Jeffrey Wright is in The Last of Us Part 2 as Isaac, and he's there, but he's kind of a tertiary antagonist for a later bit. But
might I say Jeffrey Wright is looking phenomenal.
Yes.
I don't know how old Jeffrey Wright is, but that guy's keeping in shape. Getting Oscar noms, he's awesome.
But we will dive
channel favorite Jeffrey Wright.
We love Jeffrey Wright here.
If I may.
We do have to dive into some spoiler stuff. And I mean, we've spoiled this game on previous episodes. So, yeah, we got our first real look at Caitlin Dever as Abby. And the first thought I had was, man, she looks a lot like Abby.
It's almost like they made a great pick. And I mean, something you're doing with Caitlin Devers as well, too, is understanding where she comes from for her acting career. I mean, she's really well liked, in my opinion, too. I think a lot of people like her, which is good. And we talked about it. I mean, one thing that I'm still going to hold claim until we find out who it is, or maybe it's somebody that, is not really well known, but I still think throw an actor in the role of her father, like throw an actor in there that people love. I'm still holding strong on my Paul Rudd one. Like, people love Paul Rudd. What if Pedro Pascal murdered Paul Rudd? Yeah. The world would be up in arms.
Yeah, I told you not that I'm telling these professionals how to make a TV show, but I think they have to do something that the game didn't do and make Abby don't make her this unknown, make her this known that you want to root for. Yeah, before the horrible thing happens.
And the easiest way to do that is just show loss. Like, show what she's lost. Like, show she lost. It's just this girl that all we know is she lost her father. And she's trying to just keep this militaristic community that they have afloat while they're at this endless war with these fanatics, essentially.
Because the conflict within the viewer or the player doesn't come with Abby. It doesn't come to way later in the game when you kind of unpack all that. Like, because the game obviously opts for the shock value thing that comes in the first hour or two of the game, right? With what happens with Joel, but I think for the TV show to be effective, you can't do that. You gotta, if Abby's gonna be one of your POV characters, you have to make her feel like, you have to make it seem like the actions that she's doing are justified, because they are justified, but you have to present it that way as well,
right? And I mean, obviously the massive big question is when is it gonna happen? When is it gonna happen? I mean,
and it's gonna happen.
It's gonna happen
based on these trailers. It's gonna
happen this season. I think it would be a disservice to not have it happen this season as well too.
I mean, ultimately, like, what's gonna happen is he's gonna come back in later seasons.
In the flashbacks. And that's where you can really gut punch, because I think they know, and I think Pedro Pascal's team and him know that, how fruitful this can be for him, and how much people love Joel, and that's just the gaming community. Like, one of the biggest things and what's funny, I know what's going to happen on Sunday that you're going to send me on Sunday. Happy birthday, kiddo. It's going to happen. And I mean, like, that's what I think. Like, what I'm rationalizing how I feel the structure of this whole thing is going to be, like, I keep imagining, like, what if you bring him back for that scene in season 3 and you're like, right. Woof. Right. And then you have the Tommy, Joel, and Ellie scene where he teaches her how to use the cipher, like, woof. Like, and you keep sprinkling Pedro Pascal back, and you're like, and again, it drives home the point, because I don't think we're not getting to any of the Santa Barbara stuff till season 3. Like, that is dedicated season 3. And Mason said, like, this is gonna need 4 seasons. Like, this will at least need 4 seasons. I still am of the accord that we're going to get The Last of Us Part 3, and The Last of Us Part 3 will be Season 4, because I think the second game you split into 2 seasons.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
I have a swing. They're going to kill him in the first episode, but they're going to tell the story non-linearly throughout the whole season.
Oof, man, that would be crazy.
And for somebody that's as smart and that gives so much back to the writing community that Craig Mazin does, like, this is his biggest challenge he's ever done in his career, because, obviously, Season 1... is gonna, it's weird to say, because how complex season 1 was and how incredibly executed season 1 was. It's gonna sound like dumb to say this, but like, it's a little easier than this season and season 3. Like, might be, in terms of, like, we're not naive. Like, the gaming community is full of certain types of people. Like, you have possibly the most difficult task you can ask as a creative. Like, make everybody happy. Like, that's going to be one of the most difficult things he's going to have in his head. Like, how do I keep everybody happy? And, like, you can do the podcast after each episode as much as you want. Like, people's knee-jerk reaction is going to be people's knee-jerk reaction. Yeah,
I think ultimately that's why I think, kind of to dissuade from your point is just, I think they're going to hold off on it for at least till mid-season, if not till later in the season.
I think it's too easy to do it in the season finale. Because I think and again, we've talked about The Last of Us Part 2, and my stance on the whole thought process that's the whole point. Like, it's not supposed to feel good that he's dead. That's the point. Like, that's why they did it in the beginning of the game. Like, this sucks. Like, and it's both ways. It's allegorical, because, like, Ellie lost her father figure, but, like, we lost our point of view character, and, like, and then you start asking the grief questions like, where are they? What could we have done? Like, you can't. You don't have any power over this. It's done. It's over. And now you have to sit with that pain. Like, I think Mason's smart enough to understand, like, the earlier you do this, and the more, because he talks about it all the time, like, the abuse that he gives the audience, like, abuse them. Like, and abuse your characters, like, abuse them. Like, get them really in a horrible place before you can give them any sort of emotional catharsis after that. I just feel like he's too good. Like I said, this is his biggest challenge, but it could be his biggest triumph on top of that.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm super, it's like the those who know, those who don't know thing. But like,
I can't wait to see people that have never played the game's reaction to all of this. I cannot wait.
Yeah, and I mean, hopefully they've been able to stay away from stuff, The Ballerina trailer.
Ballerina.
The book of John Wick.
They should have called it the Book of John Wick.
All the movies are chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3. Why did you not call this the Book of John Wick? I don't understand. But anyway, we did get the Ballerina trailer, and Armis is in her action bag.
Again. That's something we talked about when we were talking about No Time to Die, like how she was such a bright spot in that movie too.
Yeah. She's getting her Black Widow on in this in this trailer. And it looks very John Wickish.
And at this point in the John Wick universe, that's exactly what you need to go for. You understand the assignment.
Yeah, they did a Dragon Ball beam struggle with a flamethrower and a fire hose.
But then also the action's super tight. The action's still super tight. The action's great. R.I.P. to Lance Reddick. This is his last role.
Yeah.
That he has. The big needle drop is that Keanu Reeves is back.
Yep.
Keanu Reeves said his end to Armis in this movie, and they said yes. He said, I will be in this movie then.
Takes place between 3 and 4, so all you John Wick 4, he survived at the end truthers. We'll have to wait.
Yeah, relax. Give it a little bit.
He did survive, but anyway.
Yeah, he definitely did.
It looks great. I'm super excited for this. In terms of spin-off stuff, everything gets a spin-off now, but I think this is a universe and a lore that has been built up well enough after 4 John Wick films that it deserves a spin-off. And I think the lore of this world is very interesting.
Yeah, and I mean, after 4, we talked about how technically sound that 4 was as well, too. Like, this John Wick series is such a staple of Hollywood at this point, and like, the idea of modern action kind of runs through John Wick, so, more power to them. I think that Ana de Armas looks like she's having a boatload of fun with this as well, too, and I think that's awesome. So, as long as the action's tight, you give me some sort of narrative that's like, all right, then I'll be fine. Like, I don't need every movie to be Goodfellas, but, I mean, like I said, after No Time to Die with this, like, this might be something that Ana de Armas, like, this might be her bag, like that, action, because she looks somewhat believable she looks pretty dang believable and dare I say comfortable in this action role as well too.
Agreed. Yeah, I'm super excited for it. Then the only miscellaneous thing I got, Netflix came out with a bunch of stuff. Black Mirror got a little teaser trailer. Black Mirror is like one of those old hat Netflix shows at this point. It's like Old Yeller. It's like one of the Old Yeller shows of Netflix, which I think is cool that it's still kicking around. And then a bunch of animation stuff. So Arcane got a new trailer, which that show is phenomenal. And then two video game adaptations got animated trailers. Splinter Cell got an animated trailer, which if you've never played the Splinter Cell games, I highly recommend you track them down because they are great. And Devil May Cry, which I think I love this idea that this is how malleable, and why I love video game adaptations so much. They're so malleable. Like, you can do The Last of Us and have it be live action. Like, you gotta tailor the thing you're adapting to the medium. And I think you can't do Devil May Cry in live action. You can try, but it will come off looking really cheap and really dumb, in my opinion. Devil May Cry is ripe for an anime style thing.
Now, you're the anime guy here. I'm the high cinema guy here. I'm excited for Devil May Cry for one reason. And his name's Johnny Young Bosch.
Johnny Young Bosch. Yes, Johnny Young Bosch is voicing Dante. Devil May Cry fans will also know Johnny Young Bosch as Nero in the Devil May Cry, and Devil May Cry 4 and 5.
And I just learned that 20 minutes ago.
Which is funny. Nero is Dante's nephew. He's Virgil's son. And so Johnny Young Bosch is and people were like, why? Dante's had 3 different voice actors over the course of the Devil May Cry games. So I think the last Dante voice actor quit acting. Johnny Young Bosch he's great. He's a great voice actor. He's done a ton of great voice work, and I'm just excited to see when the season inevitably ends and they tease Virgil at the end, because that's essential. That's exactly what they're gonna do. Because people were like, "Where's Virgil?" He's gonna show up at the end of the season. You just watch. Marvel stuff. Thunderbolts trailer.
Yeah.
We talked about this a while back because it got leaked. So we watched it on our grainy little secondhand cams, and we talked about it a little bit, and now we've actually seen it, and all the things that we said about this trailer and this movie beforehand still stand. I think this movie is going to be quite good.
It looks like the Age of Ultron days of the way that they were shooting these movies, but it's also got a really, I mean, dare I say it, because I'm thinking of FC. I won't say the name because it's high cinema court. I won't say the name of the movie because you never talk about FC, but it's got that finish to it. Like, it's got that action. It's got that early 2000s action, little bit of finish on top of it too. This movie's color graded. I was surprised. I said, wait a minute. This looks like there's a color finish on top of this too. But I mean, you want to talk character wise, this is kind of how you have to focus on this as well too before we get nerdy. I mean, this movie looks like it's going to be a boatload of fun, but also, you know, gritty, grungy, and like a much needed piece, I think, in the modern day of Marvel, because this is a big piece we've been missing for a little bit. Something like this.
Yep. Yeah, I agree. And I think, you know, we talked about it when the trailer was kind of leaked online, basically, you know, confirming that Yelena is going to be kind of like the POV character, which I think is brilliant. Mm-hmm. It's nice, obviously, that we're going to have like an ensemble cast, but even in an ensemble cast, you need that grounding mechanism. You need that grounding character. And I think having it be Yelena is great. Mm-hmm. I mean, my only other alternative would have been John Walker.
Yeah, and we've talked about how great of a character we think and how much potential he has in this universe is John Walker. And, you know, I think I talked to you, one character I would have loved to see them, but this is a hindsight's 2020 because he thought his movie was getting made. I feel like, especially post Secret Invasion, Don Cheadle would have been perfect for somebody like that, for something like this. Like, you have a Captain America, you have an Iron Man, like, put them all in this movie and then have it, you know, because I still think this is going to turn out to them all being the Dark Avengers. This is what it's going to, they're in Avengers Tower in this. Yep. And then essentially you get the world's, you know, most perfect, quote unquote, most perfect super soldier out of all this too. So, this trailer introduces Bob, which for all my friends inside baseball, you're Sentry from the Marvel comics, aren't you? Mm-hmm. Louis Pullman from Bob Pullman, shout out. So what do you think the deal is?
What's the deal? What's the deal with the Thunderbolts?
I'm gonna call it now. I'm gonna give my nerd theory. I think that they're gonna mix the Extremis with the super soldiers, with Erskine's like the perfected version of Erskine's serum.
So you're telling me there's a chance that Extreme Biote could be in this movie?
No, not two. We're not doing this 2 weeks in a row. Absolutely not.
You're telling me there's a chance.
I think what's going to happen is Erskine's serum mixed with the Extremis. Like, they're going to mix all the super soldier serums from around the universe. And what's going to happen is it's going to have the reaction that's a never-ending reaction that mimics the power of 1,000 exploding suns. Wait, you're Sentry from Marvel Comics, aren't you?
Oh, no, he's the Void now.
Yeah, and it's going to split Bob's psyche in two. And then they're not going to take the swing where, like, he goes to Doctor Strange because obviously he can't go to Reservations.
No, don't start this.
Yeah, why not? He's gonna go. Sentry's been there since the beginning. He was in the Battle of New York. He was everywhere.
Don't start this.
Why not?
We got enough of that in Agatha all along. We don't need to be doing this now with the Thunderbolts.
But we were right in Agatha. They did the thing in Agatha.
They did do the thing.
They did the thing.
But no, this trailer looks super cool. Super interesting things are happening. I like that. Because, like, one of the complaints about this when it was announced was, like, all these characters kind of do the same stuff. And in this trailer, we come to learn that they definitely do not do all the same stuff. They all have a very particular set of skills, to quote a great movie taken from Liam Neeson. They all have a very particular set of skills. The best of which I think might be Ghost.
I told you before we hopped on, I said I'm most keen to see Ghost out of everybody in this trailer because... Also, I think that her character's fun as heck. I think she's going to do a great job.
Made me retroactively angry at Peyton Reed because, like, why? Where was this?
I still don't think that's Peyton Reed's fault.
Where was this cool stuff in the Ant-Man movie that this character was doing?
Maybe he didn't have it yet.
They threw a knife at her. She phased through the knife, caught the knife on the other end. I'm like, whoa.
Is she cool now?
Is she? Yeah.
She might lock in the heat check performance of the whole movie.
Yeah.
It's not going to be Taskmaster.
Come on.
I'll tell you that right now.
It might be Taskmaster.
Kill Taskmaster in the first 15 minutes like they did in the Suicide Squad.
Red Guardian's in this.
Yeah, David Harbour's having a bunch of drunk fun.
And he might die.
I mean, I wouldn't see him surviving after this too. And I feel like, you know who I think he's going to have an interesting relationship with? It's going to be John Walker, because he didn't get his due with Steve Rogers, so John Walker's the next thing. He's like, you're a disappointment. And John Walker's like, I know. I know.
Bucky going after them?
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously, what's the thing? Bucky's a senator now?
Well, he's not. He's
Bucky's doing the old American thing where I don't care that you're a politician, you're also going to lead the army.
He's definitely doing some Winter Soldier-esque brooding.
He's got the Winter Soldier gun again. He's got the Winter Soldier hair. He's back.
He's never been more back.
He's never been more back.
He's shooting the Thunderbolts car.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Is he like? What's the deal there?
They're gonna punch for it. Well, the government's gonna send him after the Thunderbolts, who are obviously on the run. And then Bucky's gonna be like, wait a minute, you guys aren't the bad guys. You guys are I guarantee you they're trying to protect Bob. They probably take Bob and they're like, we're not just gonna murder this innocent man.
And of course, like, they would send Bucky. It is that is kind of an interesting turn for Bucky too. Like, he went from being the Hydra's weapon to being the U.S. government's weapon.
And he can't escape it. And this movie, a big thing is self-identity, in my opinion. And then obviously the biggest surrogate for that is Bob, but it trickles throughout everybody. And I mean, you go to John.
I mean, Yelena talks about it in the trailer.
And it's purpose. Like, what's my they're going on the Richie from the Bear season 2 arc. Like, what's my purpose, cuz? Like, what is my purpose?
I think it's a super good idea.
And especially for these characters, and it's such a smart way to do it. And you can tell they carefully picked this team as well, too.
Yep. That's apparent.
And like I said, this is why I would have loved to see Rhodey in this movie, too. Like, also, like, again, especially after Secret Invasion, like, what a better time to talk about what his purpose is. He did not have control over himself for we don't know how long. We don't know how long it was for. So, but I digress on that point. But I mean, this trailer looks tight. It looks sharp. I wasn't expecting it to look this technically sound as well too. So I'm really invested. I'm really invested in these characters.
I hope it maintains it.
Taskmaster.
I hope it maintains it, man. I hope it maintains it, and I hope it doesn't. I hope the third act doesn't.
Yeah,
doesn't unravel this movie.
Yeah, I thought the same exact thing. And again, there's a big needle drop in this movie somewhere, because we don't. Apparently, we're supposed to know what this asterisk means.
Yeah,
they're going to be the Dark Avengers. They're just going to be the government's Avengers. Or Val's Avengers specifically.
Yeah, I mean that makes a lot of sense, I think. Ghost Rider got some buzz in the last couple of weeks. Apparently Marvel Studios, or at least someone at Marvel Studios, has been pitching a Ghost Rider Disney Plus series that would follow Danny Ketch, the Danny Ketch version of Ghost Rider.
No, why?
Yeah, why would you pick the third best Ghost Rider out of 3 to adapt? I mean, I understand they've done Johnny Blaze, they've done why is the other Robbie Reyes? They've done, but just
Robbie Reyes incredibly well, I might say.
Just do one of those again. Don't do Danny Ketch. Just do, if you're gonna do Ghost Rider, do one of those. would be my ask. Danny Ketch also has hilariously the worst looking Ghost Rider costume.
Yeah, it's not great, I must say.
So don't do that, Marvel. If you're gonna do Ghost Rider. Also, like we're gonna talk about Agatha now, but the mystical stuff I've been saying over the last couple of weeks, my refrain has been their mystical stuff is the most kind of consistent that they've been doing. So let's talk about Agatha all along briefly. Just overall thoughts on the first 3 episodes now.
I mean, you want to talk about the sell of this being the second part of the trilogy, which is the WandaVision trilogy. It's an incredible bridge piece, and I mean it's down to paying homage to the narrative structure of what WandaVision is. It lets Catherine Hahn flex as like, oh, I'm not the hero of this thing. Like, I'm still Agatha. Like, I'm still. I
love that they're not doing like, oh,
here's this no,
I'm a good guy now.
I suck. Like, I suck, and I know I suck. Like, I know I'm not a good person. On top of that, too.
But there might be someone else in this show that sucks more.
Yeah, Aubrey Plaza.
Yeah, she's her.
Yeah.
Actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm impressed. I'm actually decently impressed. I mean, again, we keep saying it all the time, but this show's tone is tight. They know exactly what type of show this is, and there's no variation. We saw the third, and usually, notoriously, the Disney Plus third episodes are the one where they start to fall. Moon Knight, probably Moon Knight and what?
Miss Marvel.
Miss Marvel. Falcon and the Winter Soldier does it as well too. Like the third episode is always where these shows structure starts to bleed a little bit because you're in your head you're like, all right, we have 4 weeks, we have 3 weeks after this, but
how can we keep this going?
But how are we already halfway through? But we only have 3 weeks left. Like it's not necessarily immediately understandable, but this is a solid third episode, and this is 6, right? This is 6 or 7.
It's got to be more than that.
No, it has to be 7, right?
I think it's 8 because they're doing 2 the last week. Like they're starting the week. They're starting with 2 and then ending with 2.
They're ending with 2, and that's going to be what on Halloween?
So it's 9. It's 9.
Oh, they are doing 9 episodes. So I mean, let's just get into specifics. So I mean, this is legitimately WandaVision 2.0 because what they do is they structure it like the mayor of Easttown. She's essentially, down to like, this is a Philly suburb, down to the accents in there.
I love her accent.
I love her accent. I love also how crass she is on top of her. She's very crass. And then just the little detail that I think is so freaking good is when she gets up to the police tape and Herb's there because she's the only one now left under the impression. So everybody else is just normal. So she gets up to the police tape, but she never crosses the tape because that's Herb's fence. So he's like, hey neighbor. And it's like, you don't think twice about it until she goes and they frame it exactly when she goes back outside. And you're like,
yep.
Oh wait,
yep.
She's still trapped in here.
Yeah. It made me, I understand why they only did it for part of the first episode, but like it did make me wish like they did kind of do a little WandaVision-y stuff for like maybe 2 episodes of like her being trapped in this thing. But then I understand like you're retreading familiar ground, and again, you don't want to do that.
And it was the last part of like television history that we didn't get to. We didn't get to the streaming era through all of that, which I thought it was in my opinion, I thought that was a cool little Easter egg for myself of like this was the last part of television that we didn't reach. Yeah, and it's like. It's kind of oxymoronic as well, too, because it's encapsulated inside of a piece of streaming content on top of that, too.
Yeah, and, eventually, Rio inserts herself into this equation, as does the teen.
They were smashing, right?
Yeah.
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 And you realize Agatha wakes up from her long nightmare, realizing that she's been under the spell of the Scarlet Witch for 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
3 years!
Yeah, that kind of gave me a what the.
Yeah, Wanda.
Dang, dude.
She knows how to hold a grudge.
Yeah. Did I ever talk about my Marvel theory, like my Marvel conspiracy theory?
About what?
Like after the pandemic theory that like they've purposely been doing weird stuff
to wait for it to catch up,
and it's finally catching. And now it's literally about to be 2025, and most of those projects were taking place in 2023.
Mm-hmm. So Agatha basically. She's gonna form a coven.
Yes,
and she forms that coven.
She does form that coven. Who's in that coven?
The teen.
The teen. Who's the teen?
He's Wiccan.
Yeah.
He's Wiccan. He's Wiccan.
He's Billy Kaplan. I don't know how they're gonna relate this back to Wanda as well too. What's the thought process here? What are we doing? Is this he's just Billy Kaplan to beat Billy Kaplan, or do you think that Wanda somehow? Before the hex was over, she was powerful enough to get Billy and Tommy's consciousness out and like get them into the world so they can go into somebody else's
I definitely think she's powerful enough to do that.
Yeah. Something's interesting.
I mean, I think it's interesting in the fact that I do have a think. As the show goes forward, I do think she's going to show up.
I still don't think so. But what they could do, and man, retroactively, if I was writing the show, because I can't help myself, because as much as I like to call people out for it, I am a little nerd as well too. I would have loved if, when we talked about WandaVision, how the theory was that, the 2 people from the commercials were her actual parents, and then in James Robinson's Scarlet Witch run, where that's the first appearance of the Witch's Road, like, she sees her mother on the Witch's Road, like, instead of seeing the Scarlet Witch, you see the mother of the Scarlet Witch. That would have been interesting. And also the mother of the Scarlet Witch is somebody that Agatha knew all along.
But yeah, I mean, we get a bunch of different characters in this. So obviously we have Teen. I talked about him, who's definitely Wiccan.
I think Joe Locke's doing a pretty solid job too. I'm actually enjoying his character quite a bit.
Me too. Deborah Jo Rupp comes back as Mrs. Davis / Mrs. Hart. I love the idea. I love the turn that character took. Best. Like when you thought, like, is she secretly a witch? No, she was just along for the ride.
I actually like the the little bit of ambiguity of like, because, and you know what they do well as well too? They talk about it early where they're like, well, there's this amount of witches and this amount of space per like square, whatever. Like this many witches could live in the space. So you're like, wait a minute. Cause she couldn't be an actual witch that just doesn't, cause Wanda didn't know she was a witch. Like she couldn't be a witch that just didn't know she was a witch. And then they did well, she's the green witch and she's just like, I know how to plant. I know how to garden. And you're like, surely she couldn't just be a witch that didn't know, right?
Well,
she wasn't. She was just a lovely lady.
We get Shasir Zamata as Jen.
Great job.
Fantastic.
She's the potions witch.
Yeah, which is great. Alian as Alice Wu Gulliver.
Mm-hmm. She's the witch with legacy.
Yep, the witch with legacy. Yep, and then the great Patty Lupone. As Lilia. She actually might be my favorite out of this whole thing. She's been phenomenal this whole series so far too. She's the divination witch.
Mm-hmm. Which is foresight.
Yep, and then obviously Aubrey Plaza as the Green Witch, as Rio Vidal, who, I mean, she's death, right?
Maybe. I don't know. Maybe.
I mean, I feel like that's coming.
So what's the thing? What's the whole thing? What are we doing?
The Salem 7 are coming after Agatha, and the only way
proper horror at the end of episode 2. The only way she can
escape them is to get her powers back and go down the witch's road.
Yeah, that was some proper horror that they pulled out in there too. That was some proper horror. I was not expecting that one bit.
Yeah. So, I mean, they got me after 3 episodes. That's all I can say. I was getting, ever more optimistic about the show, like with the trailers and everything. And now that I've seen these 3, I'm in.
I'm very in. I mean, it's a great way to structure the first 2 episodes, and then you hit 3, and this is 9 episodes. Like understanding, like let's do the trial. Like we're actually gonna do the trial each episode. So episode 3, was a very good. Episode 3 was it was water, right? What is it? It's elemental. I forget how this works. It was explained. I forget how this whole thing works. But next week, subsequently, would be fire. No.
Yeah.
And then you keep going. So, I mean, I'm just in these. I'm actually kind of interested. What they're doing is leaving little breadcrumbs for all these characters as well too, which I think has been pretty well done.
Yep.
So. No, I'm actually, like, at first you had my curiosity, but now you have my attention. Like, I truthfully am like, this is like that Marvel week to week. Like, I'm actually like, what's going to go down next week? I'm actually in.
Yeah. Yeah. I told you, the mystical, magical side of this Marvel Cinematic Universe, they really got a handle on it. Whether it's the Doctor Strange movies, whether it's WandaVision, whether it's Werewolf by Night, they really got a handle on it. And I'm super, super excited. It seems like that's where they have the most fun.
Yes.
on that side of Marvel. So super excited to keep going with Agatha. And then we'll just finish up with some DC news. So first and foremost, we got some Lanterns casting. After much speculation, it does appear that Kyle Chandler will be Hal Jordan.
What a pick that you're like, those are my favorites where you're like, you didn't even think of the person, and then the person gets cast, and you're like, oh shoot, that's actually incredible.
It's pretty good.
Dude, I don't know. I love this freaking sell for the show. That this Hal Jordan is old. Like, this is... Because I think we talked about it off the pod, too. They're doing... I think James is trying to build the Justice League Unlimited roster because Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Flash, Martian Manhunter, Hawkgirl, and Green Lantern. John Stewart Green Lantern. Like...
Yep.
You can easily get that team together inside this universe, and... If you want this whole idea of gods and monsters, I feel like Martian Manhunter's a character in live action that hasn't had his due yet, outside of Supergirl. Like, a good place to put him in the movie. Like, that would be pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. No, I'm truthfully invested. I just love this idea of what he's doing. We'll talk about the Bane Deathstroke thing, because that's my only question.
Yeah.
I don't have any reason not to trust James Gunn, and I mean... I just know when that first trailer for Superman comes out, I'm going to be like, yeah, yep. He understands. Like,
yeah.
He truthfully understands it, but...
Yeah, so we got Kyle Chandler as Hal Jordan, and then it appears to now be between Aaron Pierre and Stefan James for the Jon Stewart role.
And I mean, I think before...
Aaron Pierre, shout out to you, was one of the names that you threw out there.
And I knew it, in a weird way, it was... we've had it over the last, like... Austin Butler, Jonathan Majors, and a channel favorite. Why can't I remember? Why am I forgetting my favorite cinema actor right now of the moment?
Timothy Chalamet.
No, Glenn Powell. Where we were like, over the course of this pod, these people had like, all right, we're here moments. Like, we're truthfully here moments. Like, Aaron Pierre just had his like 3 weeks ago where Rebel Ridge came out on Netflix and everybody was like, you need to see this movie on Netflix, Rebel Ridge. Like, this movie has potential to be like, we might be seeing like a big time action star evolve amongst our eyes. And I think that's the truth. I think as soon as that movie came out, both Marvel and DC picked up the phone and we were like, we need to speak to his agents ASAP. I don't care what the project is. We need him in the universe. And I mean, imagine he is the main John Stewart for those movies. Not bad to have him locked down for a number of years too.
Yeah. I think both of those casting choices would be great. I think the Aaron Pierre pick is probably where you want to go. And I think that's great. I would be super keen to see some live action Green Lantern stuff.
Yeah, and I mean, again, the sell of this show is so awesome. This true detective-esque, like, I don't know, man. I just think that's so cool. This older John Stewart, or this older Hal Jordan, that's like, he already did everything. He's already passed everything. Like, he's already like, I did the Emerald Midnight. Like, I helped destroy, I already did Parallax. Like, all those things already happened to me. And again, what that's going to help in this universe is Superman. Like, when Superman shows up in this lived-in universe, people are going to be like, oh, that's what the hero is supposed to look like.
Yep.
So, and we already have another Green Lantern. So, there's already Green Lanterns floating around in this universe as well, too. So, and Guy Gardner, he's older as well, too. Guy Gardner's also older in this because he's Nathan Fillion, who's in his 50s, right? Early 50s. Like, this universe has been lived in for a little bit, but man, what a pick Kyle Chandler is. That's such a pick where I didn't even think about it. And I was just like, oh yeah, he's got the voice too.
Yeah.
Like, he's got this very Hal Jordan, like, I think his Hal Jordan's going to be like, I used to be that cocky flyboy that like was super arrogant. And then I got humbled and then I got evil. And then I saved myself. Like, John, I can teach you a thing or two. And John's going to be like, you can't teach me anything. And if you guys, I told you, I think they're going to do Blackest Night. I think that's the conspiracy. Like, they're going to find a dead body and like the Guardians are going to be like, can you guys mind checking that out? Like, is that can you guys just see what that, cause we don't think this thing's going to do that. He said the Guardians are like, all right, 50-50 y'all. 1, this is just a murder. B, the whole universe is about to end. I just think you guys should just check that out real quick. I think you guys should take a look real quick.
Yeah, I'm super excited to see it. So the Hollywood Reporter has reported that there is a green light for a Bane and Deathstroke film that will be penned by the writer of Captain America: Brave New World. And that's an interesting pairing. That's
a very interesting pairing, unless they're trying to do
the Sinister Six.
Nope. I think they're trying to do a League of Supervillains thing. Like, they're just trying to get all their ducks in a row to make sure that happens. What a sell. I mean, Bane and Deathstroke are essentially 2 super soldiers in their own right. I just don't know what would cross them paths, unless this is something that's going to be a prerequisite to a Batman movie. Because I don't know if James is going to take an amalgamation of who was writing Batman when all this stuff happened. I forget. I think it was, who was writing Batman? I forget who was writing Batman at the time, but it's one of the newer iterations of Batman where it's the City of Bane. Like, I wonder if he's going to try to do something like that and like make Bane like a proper, like, cross between like, Nolan's Bane and comic Bane, like somewhere in the middle of that. And then finally Deathstroke gets his live action due. Titans, you did it. We know.
Joe Manganiello was Deathstroke. Don't forget.
Goat.
He was Joe Manganiello in one post-credit scene.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to find a league of our own.
Whoop.
Hold on.
Wait a minute.
Hold on, Zack Snyder, and your 50 trillion post-credit scenes.
Wait a minute. Is this play about us? Huh. I'm so...
Oh,
no, don't do it. And by the way...
Some call me Martian Manhunter.
Ben Affleck's like, I'm so done.
All right.
Ben Affleck's like, get me off this set, man. I don't know what's happening.
Yeah, I mean, I think to your point, like, Bane and Deathstroke, they don't immediately come to mind as, like, let's be buddies. Let's be pals. It would be funny, though.
Yeah.
Bane, Deathstroke, buddy cop.
Against who? Who would be the funniest DC character? Mr. Mixapitalik?
Mr. Terrific?
Mr. Terrific?
Mr. Terrific is just being pranked by Bane and Deathstroke for 2 hours.
No, Guy Gardner. Nathan Fillion's Guy Gardner is the...
Jay Garrick.
No! I don't know, man. I don't know what the sell of this is.
Unless it's like Bane, pre-serum Bane, and he's just a smart guy. A smart tactician guy.
Yeah, a smart tactician guy that Deathstroke, like, while Deathstroke's on a mission, it's just like, you could be good at this one day. Like, come with me.
Here's some super steroids.
Yeah, have fun. Mm-hmm.
And now he's a giant human.
You gotta... Oh, I mean, I guess not. I was gonna say you call Batista for Bane.
People have been kicking him around for Hugo Strange, and I'm like, you know what?
It's not bad. It's actually really great.
Yeah.
Especially after Blade Runner 2. After Blade Runner 2049, I can definitely see him as a Hugo Strange.
He's an actor now.
Yeah, he is.
He's not just a big muscle guy anymore.
No, he's a high cinema actor. Show some respect.
Do you Deeb! I know you want to, like, get away from the old actors, but, like, do you just have Joe Manganiello come back as Deathstroke?
You probably get the conversation going with him. You say, like, hey, this is your chance. This is going to be separate. Like, let's take a swing.
Because he's got a great look.
Oh, 100% for Bane? Oh,
no, for Deathstroke.
For Deathstroke?
Yeah.
Oh, heck yeah. Suit was also great.
Suit was great. It's a hard suit not to get right.
I mean, there's days where I still wish Ben Affleck got, like, Ben Affleck versus Joe Manganiello for J-Lo's heart. Like, what a film.
Yeah, I think it's super interesting.
I'm trying to think casting right now. Like, who do you get to play? Like, who's somebody that can play a good Deathstroke? Like, I feel like Batista would be good for Bane, somebody that Gunn's familiar with as well too. I wonder who's going to direct this movie on top of that too. So, I'm really thinking. You know what's the funniest one? George Clooney for Deathstroke.
For Deathstroke.
Yeah, who do you pick to play Deathstroke?
I don't know. I mean, you know, it's funny, like, he hasn't gotten a lot of play in live action, but, like, everyone that's been casted him has been pretty good. Like, Manu Bennett did an outstanding job on Arrow. I quite like the guy who played him on Titans. I thought he was he was a proper menace.
Yeah, he was, and that's the point. He was, and they took the Teen Titans original show concept of, like, obviously it's from the comic, but, like, from the Judas Contract, but, like, which the Titans did adapt, but it's like, yeah, Deathstroke hates these. He hates them. Like, he properly hates them. Saw Stephen Lang for a good Deathstroke casting.
Look, you'll never tell me no. You'll never get me to say no to Stephen Lang. I'll tell you that much.
It would be fun. It would be a good one. Keanu Reeves?
I
don't think his acting fits Deathstroke immediately.
No, I don't think so.
Cole Brolin. He's not doing Lanterns anymore. Cole Brolin.
Oh, that's interesting.
Also, Glenn Powell's playing Booster Gold, no? Because you saw his hair. He was at some event.
Yeah.
And his hair was bright blonde.
Yeah. Yeah. I could see Brolin's a good Timothy Oliphant.
Oliphant probably would be fun too. I feel like a little bit of drama added onto him as well too. Give Walter Goggins a little ring. Tell him to hit the weight room for a couple weeks. We'll get you swole.
He'd have to hit the weight room.
We'll get you swole. Oh, Andrew Lincoln would be a fun one too to play Deathstroke.
Oh.
He's got the build for it 100%.
He does.
Give him a villain role on top of that too. I feel like he would have a ball.
Just do Andrew Lincoln as Deathstroke and do Bernthal as Bane. Just for the memes.
Russo.
We're lost. We're lost, Bane.
We're lost.
We're lost in Africa, Bane.
Jared Padalecki?
Nah.
Too young?
No, not that he's too young.
Too pretty?
Yeah.
He's too pretty for
He's too handsome.
I mean, for Deathstroke?
Jensen Ackles?
Yeah. Dude, I really like that Kyle Chandler pick for Hal Jordan.
It's pretty good.
I really like that.
Yeah. Super news. Superman and Supergirl news.
Yeah.
Alan Tudyk has been cast in a mystery.
Can we add him to a new channel favorite, Alan Tudyk?
We like Alan Tudyk here.
We like Alan Tudyk when he plays a robot fella.
Yeah, he's great as...
All I'm saying is he's done it like 3 times. And why have you done it 3 times, Alan Tudyk? You're either a weird monster guy...
He might be doing it a 4th time.
Yeah,
depending on who he is in Superman.
No, he's not playing Red Tornado.
Make him Red Tornado.
Cut it out.
Make him a Mazo.
No, don't take mine. I told you, what if he played a Mazo so he just keeps playing a morally... No, if he's Red Tornado, he's a morally ambiguous android again.
Yeah.
I love iRobot. James Gunn's like, I love iRobot.
That would be great. I don't know. They said he's being cast in a secret role, and usually what that means is like, hey, look, it's Alan Tudyk,
Right,
for 5 seconds in a scene, and that's it.
Or he's, I don't know. Maybe he's Batman.
John Jor-El?
John DC Comics.
John Superman.
You're John Superman from comics.
He's Superman's dad?
No.
No? He couldn't do it?
No. No, I think you're right. I just think Tudyk's like a fun guy.
Yeah.
So they just throw him in the movie.
And then Matthias, oh boy. Schonertz. I don't know. Matthias, it's a name. I don't know what this guy's been in. I've Googled him, and I have not seen anything that he's been in.
Good. I think that's a little bit of a good thing sometimes.
He will be the villain in the Supergirl movie.
Which this movie, I mean, we talked about how excited we are for this movie. I think this movie is going to be particularly incredible. Who's directing this movie again?
Oh. I knew this, and now I don't know it anymore. No, not the 1984 film. God damn it. If you find it before I do, let me know.
Oh, Craig Gillespie.
Oh, yes.
Yep.
Yes. Starring another channel favorite, Millie Alcock.
Yes. Which I think was the right like overall that's one of those things where it's like it's the I feel like Bella Ramsey immediately comes to mind where it's like you got to get the person that has the most edge and grit to a character like Supergirl or especially the Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow storyline. So my promise is I'm going to read that whole storyline by the time that movie comes out so I can be an expert on it because I know he's playing Krem from that storyline.
It's filmography. He was in nothing that I've seen. Bullhead, Rust and Bone, Chimpanzee, The Danish Girl.
Oh, The Danish Girl.
He was in The Danish Girl.
That got some play. I think that was an Oscar nominated movie.
The Mustang. He was nominated for Independent Spirit Award for Best Male Lead.
Nice.
Yeah. Rust and Bone appears to be what he was nominated for the most awards for.
Okay, sick.
Television, bunch of stuff from Belgium. All right, so he's a relative unknown, but he's been working for a long time. He is 46 and has been acting since 1992. He received critical acclaim for his portrayal of an ex-soldier suffering from PTSD and disorder, and for his performance as an inmate training a wild horse in The Mustang. And he will be the main villain in Supergirl. So that's super cool.
Probably playing Krem.
Yeah. I guess we can just finish up talking about the Penguin a little bit.
Not bad.
Pretty good. The
Is he Tony Soprano DC?
Yes.
Yep.
We knew that going in. We knew that going in that this was just the DC Sopranos, and it's pretty good. Mark Strong as a recasted Carmine Falcone.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Mark Strong's one of those guys where it's like, oh, that's Mark Strong.
He what's his name? John Turturro did a great job in the Batman, but I was like, dang, Mark Strong in the Batman would have been pretty good.
I love the gravitas and the grandeur that obviously John Turturro brings, but obviously it was scheduling. You couldn't get him back, which I still have a point about what I think they're going to do with our best pal Batman in this show.
But I mean, obviously Colin Farrell is great.
Oh my gosh, he's so incredible. He's so smooth as well too in this role. Like I know they have to put him in all that makeup, but he's so quick.
Yeah.
Which I think is something that's super important for a role like that too. Like you got to get us sold that's the thing about these, like especially like not from a Marvel front where they're already known from it, from a DC front, like, and then it's not the mainline DC that we're getting or that we're supposed to get. Like this is from a movie that obviously a lot of people think is great, and like let's spin off this character that like people easily could have been like, why am I watching this? Like who cares about a Penguin show? Like, all right, we'll let the narrative sing. And I mean, what they do is they give you compelling characters out of the great. They make your main character, someone to weirdly root for. Mm-hmm. They give him a Robin in the first episode.
They do.
They do the exact Robin plot line that Jason Todd has.
They do.
What's the freaking theories that people are saying that his name's Victor? So I saw a better one, but one of them is that he's Victor Freeze. No. The better one I saw is that he's Victor Zsasz. Now, that would be kind of interesting.
And Victor, I mean, I'm going off of Gotham, but like Victor Zsasz and the Penguin do have a relationship in Gotham. So
I think that would be quite interesting if he did develop into Victor Zsasz.
I think I guess not the real standout because Colin Farrell is great, but Kristen Milotti as Sophia Falcone has been just a revelation. She's incredible in the first episode. Like she is properly unhinged in just a tremendous way.
Yeah, she is, like you said, she's properly unhinged. She's having a ball. She looks like she's understanding, like, you know, they look like they did a lot of research into the comics as well, and kind of like, but also made it The Sopranos on top of that in the best possible way. They were like, we know our North Star shows that we're trying to pull from, and let's just have a spot of fun. Like, is that okay? Like, that we have a tinge of fun to go along with this kind of gritty gothic story that they're telling on top of it.
And to your Batman point, like this, like I think the kind of the main, at least this first episode, like the main through line of the show is enticing enough to me that like I don't even need Batman in this to have a good time. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you watch some of these shows, like especially the Marvel shows, you're like, I just kind of want that one big thing to happen. Like, WandaVision's a perfect example. Like, this is nice, but like, when's the one big thing going to happen, right?
When's Reed Richards showing up?
Yeah. When's Mephisto going to show up?
Whoa.
They name dropped him in the third episode.
They name dropped Mephisto. We didn't even talk about it. We can't believe it.
It finally happened. But this one, I'm just like, I'm enjoying like just you're right, like the Sopranos isness of it all. Clancy Brown, I love Clancy Brown. He's so good. Even though like he's not is
it bothering you that he's not Italian enough?
I mean, yeah, kinda. A little bit. He's just like, I don't know. He's Salvatore Moroni, and he's just in the show, he's doing what Denzel's gonna do in Gladiator 2. He's like, I'm Clancy Brown, you're getting Clancy Brown. You're not getting a character, you're just getting me. And that's good enough. I like Clancy Brown a lot in a lot of things.
Yeah, it's a good round out to the Batman universe.
At least he's not a dick general in this, like he is in everything else.
Yeah, he's comfortable. He's like, I'm here. It is what it is.
He was a dick general in Daredevil.
Yeah.
He was a dick general in The Flash also.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. They really got Clancy Brown to be in season 1 of The Flash.
Yeah. Dolph Lundgren was in season 5 of Arrow.
That was different. Arrow had juice then.
Dolph Lundgren, that was wild.
That was crazy. What a pull.
That was, I know.
You think Dolph Lundgren was like watching TV and like he scrolled to Arrow and he saw Russians in like season 3 and he's like, ooh.
I'm back.
I'm back.
He's not even Russian. He's Swedish.
Yeah.
That's the funniest part.
It's hilarious.
But yeah, the show is, we have not seen the second episode yet. But yeah, I mean, the Sopranos comp was well placed.
And you know that's a conversation that they had as well,
yes,
too. And that's
yes.
As much as people might hate me saying that, like, shows think about that. They literally think about these ideas of, like, and movies do the same thing of, like,
The Sopranos was good.
Like, what's our thing? Like, what's the thing that we're trying to pull from and pull inspiration from? And The Sopranos, obviously, is the idea. That's the thing that they're going to think about.
And we haven't had, like, a good mob TV thing.
No.
Since The Sopranos.
And that's the thing. And it's funny that this Batman universe keeps doing, and the Penguin keeps doing it of, like, you know, you take the name from the comic character away in the comic modern age of putting the fandom on top of it. This is just this is a good mob show. Like, this is a good mob show.
Exactly.
The Batman is an incredible, you know, film noir on top of that. Like,
yep.
Batman just so happens to be in that, and the Penguin just so happens to be in it. And
exactly.
I love Oz's character in this too. Like,
yes, me too.
I love kind of the bits that, like, the themes that they're touching on as well too. But like you said, the best, one of the shining spots of this show, not only is Colin Farrell, but Sophia Falcone is just woof. She is incredible.
Yeah. So I'm super.
What a properly great villain to throw in this show too.
Yeah, just like Oz is a crime boss, but Sophia is a proper psycho.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like Oz is always he thinks everyone else is a psycho. Like, he thinks Batman's a psycho.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm just trying to get by. Like, I'm just doing my...
I'm just a guy that grew up poor.
Yeah.
Finally's got a little money.
And I'm surrounded by psychopaths.
And he truthfully is. I mean, the best thing this show does... Spoilers. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Best thing that this show does... Murder Alberto Falcone in the first 5 minutes of the first episode. Because, like, even in your mind, you're like, all right, well, we're going to have the son. You're going to have the son, Alberto Falcone. He's going to be at odds with Oz, and then Sophia, it's going to be like a brother sister. No, he murders him straight up, and then what it does too is like show like this universe knows no bounds of like this character's safe. No, that doesn't work like that. Like you can be murdered at any point here. Like this still has that level of like undeniable realism to it.
Yeah, so I'm super keen on it. Man.
I can't believe they gave him the Jason Todd Robin origin in the show. It's the funniest thing that the show has ever done.
Yeah, that
Dolly Parton 9 to 5 needle drop also was incredibly done.
Yep.
Because then I thought about it, I was like, he is just a guy just trying to just trying to do his job. He's a mentor now. He's just a good guy.
Yep.
No, he's not. But,
that's it. We're done here.
Yeah. That was fun.
That was fun. Next week might not be as fun. It's, again, we talk about the Last of Us roller coaster. I feel like Joker is also on this roller coaster.
I feel like you're not supposed to like the first Joker. Like, you can't publicly like the first Joker movie.
You can like it.
I'll say this. I love Joaquin Phoenix, and I'll leave it at that so I don't get canceled.
Yeah, so we're gonna talk about Joker 2 next week. It's finally here. And I've grown, like the opposite of the Agatha thing. I've grown less and less optimistic the more I've heard and seen of this movie, because I'm just like, did you guys lose the plot? Like, did you guys not expect to make a sequel? And then you were just like, oh no, we have to make a sequel.
And unfortunately, this sequel still has potential, and I think, getting Lady Gaga as Harley Quinn, it still does. You know who should have played Harley Quinn if they wanted to do a normal version of this movie, non-musical? You get Rooney Mara, because that's already his wife. And she properly could probably play an incredible Harley Quinn on top of that, too.
Yeah. I don't know, man.
The more time has went on, I've been like, I'm nervous. I did love her rendition of That's Life that she sang in the one trailer. I was like, wait, this is why I'm still intrigued. That's still Lady Gaga.
It's not a musical, though.
Says Todd Phillips?
Says the guy who made the movie a musical? I don't know, man. I just feel like they were like, they woke up one day and Warner Brothers, they were like, make me a Joker sequel, Todd Phillips. And he's like, oh no, I didn't expect to do this. It's kind of like the Ghost of Tsushima thing. Like, you could have left Arthur in that mental asylum and never seen him again. And I feel like that would have been fine.
Yeah, and you just leave it. I mean, the guy won an Oscar for the movie. Like, you just leave it as one of those, like, higher cinema movies, put it in the shelf, and that's it. Like,
now
never
you're
touch
doing
this thing again.
I mean, at the very least, it'll give us something to talk about. Which is always good. Maybe it'll be one of those episodes.
No, don't put this in the Morbius category.
It might end up there. I'm not ruling it out. But yeah, we're gonna talk about Joker next week. Ugh.
Don't it.
I don't know. We'll see. But that's it. You can follow us on Twitter at @ProjectINF_pod. You can follow us on Facebook. You can follow us on YouTube at youtube.com/The Project Infinite Podcast. New episodes posted on YouTube the same day, same moment. They're put on your favorite podcast platforms: Spotify, Apple, Google Podcasts, all that stuff. You can follow us on
Grandma's Radio.
There it is. He brought that joke back. You can follow us on Instagram
at The Project Infinite Pod.
Next week, like I said, we are going to talk about Joker 2. I am not going to...
Fully ado. Say the full name,
I'm not doing it. We speak American. I'm actually going to make American here.
I'm going to make it a point to only call it Joker Fully ado anytime I say the name. Even if I'm just talking about him narratively.
Joker 2, Joker's back.
You're John Joker Fully ado.
John the Joker.
You're John Jack Nicholson's Joker.
Jack the Joker.
You're Jack Nickel Joker.
Joker 2, Joker joking around, still joking.
Two Ers.
He's still joking around.
He's still joking around. Favorite Joker?
I'm always going to be partial to the Mark Hamill Joker.
Am I
just say Heath Ledger?
Am I allowed to say Jerome from Gotham? Because I'm a Cameron Moynihan stan. What I would have given to give him a full-fledged...
Objectively, it's Heath Ledger.
Yeah,
we're just not. We can't bat around it. Like it's if we're taking him out of it. Mark Hamill for me is always he's the Joker in the same way that Kevin Conroy is going to be Batman for me.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough not to agree.
Jared Leto?
No, let's end. We gotta go, man. I can't wait for Jeffrey Wright to break that line out in The Last of Us Part 2.
Open your eyes!
Open your eyes!
He's not going to say that. He might.
Do me a favor and shut your mouth. Is Jeffrey Wright the greatest ever? I love Jeffrey Wright.
No habla español, fellas?
That's when I knew that universe had something.
And they say that movie's not funny.
It's because you took the Hippocratic Oath. Hippocratic Oath, okay. I was like, wait a minute. This movie's incredible.
World's greatest detectives.
Best part of that movie is when he opens the door and he's like, get out of here, bats. He didn't say bats, but it would have been funnier if he said bats. He's like, get out of here, freak, before that suit gets all full of blood. He's like, mine are yours. I was like, yeah.
Yeah, this is good.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, this is crazy.
From me,
You gotta be real careful, man.
Do I?
Yeah. Don't give me Isaac.
I wasn't going to give you Isaac. From the...
Ghost of Yotei.
The Ghost of Yotei of the podcast. From the Mickey 17 of the podcast.
Yes, which Mickey am I?
Mickey Mantle.
No! I wanted Mickey Rourke.
the Mickey Mantle of the podcast.
Yes! Switch hitting Yankee legend. What are you looking forward to, man?
Huh?
What are you looking forward to?
I don't know. This Joker movie.
Not the Titans.
Nah. I saw Will Levis threw an interception. Pete Rose died, by the way.
Pete Rose passed away. Dikembe Mutombo passed away.
Bad day for sports.
Bad day for sports, yes. So
Will Levis threw another interception?
Yep. And he's out of the game.
Is he?
Yeah,
thank God.
My GOAT's in the game. Former Steeler legend's in the game.
Wait, did he get hurt or did he get benched?
I think he got both. Both at the same time.
You're hurt, Will.
I'm not. Get off.
You're hurt, Will.
You're hurt. Okay.
Get into the blue tent.
Do you think that's what Denzel said to Will Smith during the Oscar slap?
You're hurt, Will.
You're hurt, Will.
Get in the blue tent, Will.
I pulled Will to the side. I said, the devil's going to come for you. Whatever. Denzel's the coolest human being on planet Earth.
You will be my instrument.
Paul Mescal said, I don't want to.
To slap Chris Rock. All right, we gotta go.
I can't wait for The Gladiator. That movie has the potential to either be the craziest... I didn't even talk about Megalopolis in my cinema corner.
You talked about Megalopolis last week.
Oh, I did. It's unhinged.
I can't wait. I can't wait for Joker 2. Still joking.
What a move. Joker 3 still joking.
Joker 3. Joker 3 still joking.
Joker 4, these jokes don't write themselves.
These jokes don't write themselves.
Joker 5, jokes on you.
Joker 5, home for the holidays.
Come on, man. They're doing a holiday special? We got a holiday special before Schneider got a second Justice League movie.
Home for the holidays. I'm leaving it at that. Yeah, we'll see you next week for...
Joker 6. Loves a joke.
Life's a joke and then you die.
The Biggie special.
No! Come on, man. All right, we gotta go, man.
Go with this.
We're going.
We're going.
Until then, goodbye.
Peace.